Hi everyone, you're welcome to Bimsy Styling YouTube channel. Today I am going to be showing you how to make this stylish dress. The highlight of this dress is the neckline, which is an high neck, and also the double welt pocket on the dress, and finally the overall look of this dress. Now please note that my client requested I do not make the neckline so high like the original design. Hence the reason I use the stovepipe neckline design. It's also going to be high, but not as high as the original design. So guys, if this sounds like something you're interested in learning, do well to stick to the end of this tutorial. And now let's get started. So right here I have the basic bodice pattern which I'll be working with, both the front pattern and the back. For the neck, I actually used the basic neckline of 3 inches by 3 inches for the front and 3 inches by 1 inch for the back. To create the stovepipe neckline, I'll be starting from the front pattern, and from my 3 inches neck depth, I'll come down from that point by 2 inches. That's on the center front. I came down by 2 inches. On my shoulder line, I'll go ahead and take 1.5 inches from the neck width. Now this is from the neck width, the 3 inches we have as the neck width. I measured 1.5 inches on the shoulder line. Now I'll go ahead and connect the 2 points together. Now that I'm done connecting, I'll slash through that line. That's the curved line we just marked from the 2 inches on the center front to the 1.5 inches right there. So what we want to do right now is to open up the slashed line, and so to do this I need to take out this part of the pattern paper. So after taking out that part, this is what I have. So the next thing I would do is to place a fresh pattern paper underneath the basic bodies that we are working on. So this is it. So when doing this, ensure that your pattern paper actually sits well on the plain pattern paper that you placed underneath it. So right now I'm taking out the basic neckline which I initially drafted. That's the 3 inches by 3 inches. I'm taking that part out, and so the next thing I would do is to open up the slashed line, and to do that I'll be raising it by 2 inches. So from that point which I slashed on the center front, I came up by 2 inches, and so on that 2 inches mark is where the other paper will be resting on. So this is exactly what I did at this point. So I'll ensure that it rests on that 2 inches, and then I will tape it down. So this is it. Now that I've properly secured all my pattern piece right there, from the neck point I'll go up by 1.5 inches. So I'll go up by 1.5 inches, and then I'll follow through that line coming from the shoulder line. I'll follow through like so, and then extend towards the 1.5 inches. So this line is actually going to stop at the 1.5 inches mark there. Yeah. Now the next thing I would do is to work on the center front, and to do this I need to ensure that this part is laying well. So I will follow through the straight line for the center front, and then I will extend that line to the point where we have our paper raised. So that's that point which I'm pointing at there. So from that point I'll then connect to the 1.5 inches extension that we have coming from the shoulder line. So with my curved ruler, I will just connect these 2 points together like so. The next thing I will do now is to blend this part of the shoulder line so that I don't have any form of pointy points at that part of the shoulder. Now that I have done that, I'll get my scissors, and then I'll cut through the lines like so. So I'll be cutting through the neckline that we just connected. So after cutting through the neckline like so, I will go ahead and also cut through the center front, and then I'll follow through the straight line which I extended from the waist to the neck part of this pattern. So I'll cut through the center front just like that, and then once I'm done cutting the center front, I'll also cut through the shoulder line, that is from the extended neck. I'll cut through the shoulder line like so, and then once that part is done, I'll cut the armhole, the side, and then my waist line. So right now I'll be working on the back pattern, and as you can see, we have the half scale basic bodies for the back also. Now for the back, the first thing I will do is to get my straight ruler and then I'll be working on the neck width. That's the 3 inches neck width for the back. I'll place my straight ruler, ensuring that I have a straight line. So if you don't know how to get a perfect straight line at this point, just make use of your set square to get that part. So I have the straight line right here. I would also go ahead and extend the center back line. That is the center back. I would extend it also with the straight ruler. Now at the center back from the neck depth, I'll go up by 1 inch. Yeah, and then I'll mark it right there. And on the shoulder line for the back, that is from the neck width, on the shoulder line I'll go out by ½ inch. So I'll mark ½ inch from my neck width to the shoulder line like so. Now from that ½ inch, I'll also go up by 1.5 inches. That is from that ½ inch which I marked. I'll then place my my tape rule diagonally like so. The tape rule will be slanted kind of, so I'll mark 1.5 inches like so. Now I'll use my curved ruler to connect from the 1.5 inches which I raised the neckline. I'll connect it to the ½ inch that we have on the shoulder line like so. And then from that 1.5 inches mark, I would also try to blend in the neckline for the back. So next, I'll connect from the 1.5 inches to the 1 inch which we have at the center back. I'll connect it such that the curve actually aligns with the initial neckline for the pattern. If you notice the way I placed my curve, the curve is actually aligning with the neckline that we have for the basic bodies initially. So right now I need to blend in the neck part of this back pattern. Now I'm done working on the back, and so the next thing I'll do is to get the front pattern and then ensure that I match them up together. That's the shoulder line and also the eye neck that we just created. I'll match them up like so, ensuring that they actually match up in the measurements which I have there. Now that I've confirmed that, I'll go ahead and cut out the back pattern, following through the curve and the eye neck which I just created. I'll then cut it out like so. So with this, we have created the pattern for the stovepipe neckline for this dress. So right here I have the pattern which I just cut out, and this is the back pattern. So to get the length of the dress, I will just further extend from the half length of this pattern. I would extend it to whatever length that I want for this dress. So I just went ahead to mark that line, and after marking the waistline, I came down by 8 inches for my hip line, and then from that point I just connected the center back so that the pattern paper aligns properly with the fabric. I also went ahead to mark the nail line for the shaping of this dress, and then I have the gown length. On the hip line, I took my hip measurement divided by 4, and then I marked it out, connected it to the nail line, and also connected it to the waistline. I went ahead to add my seam allowance to the sides. That's where we have the hip, and this is exactly what I am doing at this point. On the side as well, I added my allowance on the armhole ½ inch, on the neck and the shoulder ½ inch, on the part which we raised ½ inch. At the center back, I also added the zipper allowance and then extended my zipper allowance to the other part. That's the hip, the nail, and every part of this dress. So I went ahead to confirm the length of the dress. That's the measurement. And right now, I'll be cutting out my fabric. So right here I have the pattern paper for the front, and this front pattern was actually cut in two. So the center front is not on fold. For that design, it's not on fold. We have a seam line at the center front. So I came in by 1 inch and then marked that line, and so my pattern is actually resting on that 1 inch line. Every measurement I'll be taking will start from that 1 inch line. So the joining at the center front will be on that 1 inch. So after I'm done pinning this front pattern paper, I'll go ahead and also extend my lines just the same way I did for the front, the hip line, the nail line, and the gown length, and then I'll draw out the shape and also insert my measurement for the hip and also the nail. So here I'm done cutting out the front pattern, and then I'll go ahead to open up the center front just like I said, the center front is not on fold, so I'll go ahead to open this part up. Right now, I'll be cutting out the materials I need to create the welt pocket. And for this length, I used 14 inches length, and then the width is 7.5 inches. That's the wideness. So this is exactly what I have here. And I actually placed it on fold because we have two welt pockets, one on the right, one on the left. So this will serve as the pocket bag for the two welt pockets we are creating on the dress. So I'll slash open on the other side like so. Now I'll be cutting another fabric for also for the welt pocket. So everything we are cutting right now will be for the welt pocket. Okay, so for these I'll be marking 7.5 inches as the wideness, and then 3 inches as the length. So I have 7.5 inches by 3 inches. So this is exactly what I marked on this particular one here. And so I'll go ahead to cut it out like so. So for this particular piece, I'll be needing two for each of the welt pocket, two. So that is why I need to cut another one. So I would also slash open on the side that we have there. So here I have the front, and the first thing I did was to pin down the center front. Like I told you that this center front is not on fold and it has a stitch line on that part. So here is the facing for the front, cut out the same way the main fabric was cut. I would also be stitching the center front part of this facing. After I was done stitching the front, this is what I have, and then this is also what the neckline looks like for the front. So I've also gone ahead to stitch the facing. So I'll match them up together. That is the facing and the main fabric. I'll pin them together. And after pinning, I'll take it to the sewing machine and then stitch on half an inch, which I added to the neck part. I'll stitch it down on half an inch. I also went ahead to mark out the darts. So this is exactly what I'm doing at this point to get the placement of the dart on the dress. So I marked it out, and then I'll go ahead and take the exact measurement of my dart leg on both sides, and also take the length of the dart. So after marking this, I'll go ahead, after stitching the neckline, I'll also hold down my darts for the dress. So here is what the front looks like after stitching the neck and also holding my darts. This is what we have. Now, if you notice, just immediately after the dart, towards the hip, I have a crease line there. So all I did was to place the fabric on fold and iron it out. So I have a straight line. And on this line is where I will be attaching the welt pocket. Now let's create the welt pocket. So the first thing I did was on that line, I came in from the side by 3 inches. And from that 3 inches mark, I went ahead to create the pocket mouth opening. And the measurement for this is 5.5. So I discovered that based on the measurement, 3 inches will not work on the side. So I reduced it. So what I have on the side is 2.5 inches. So from that 2.5 inches, I then went ahead to mark my 5.5 inches for the pocket mouth. So this 5.5 inches will be the wideness of this welt pocket. So you can see what I have there. So I initially marked 2.5 inches for the side, and then you can see 2.5 inches on the side. And then from that 2.5 inches, I then marked 5.5 inches as the wideness for the pocket mouth. I hope you get that. Now, the next thing I will do is on that 5.5 inches mark that I have there, I'll place my tape rule, ensuring that I go up by 0.25. That is from the crease line, that straight line that we have there. I went up by 0.25 and then came down by 0.25. So we have half inch there. I repeated the same thing on the other side, came up by 0.25 and then came down by 0.25 from the crease line that we have there. Like I said earlier, this line is just going to serve as a guide so that our welt pocket is sitting straight on the dress. Now with my straight ruler, I'll connect the points together. That's the 0.25 on the other side, and on the side towards the side seam, I'll connect it together like so to form a straight line. I'll do the same thing on the other side of the crease line. The 0.25 will be connected together with my straight ruler. Now And then I will also close up the side, that's half inch there, so that we have like a kind of box that is created on that part. We have a kind of rectangle that is created right there. So you can have a closer view of what we just created. We have a kind of rectangle there. So I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So right now you can see that we have the box on both sides of the dress. So we would go ahead now and start working on the welt pocket, on creating the welt pocket. So here I have the fabric, the 3 inches wide fabric. I folded it into two, so I have 1.5 here. And then remember that we cut out 3 inches by 7.5 inches. So this 1.5 is actually wide. So I'll just take out about half inch away so that I have 1 inch for this fabric. So this is what I did here. Now on that 1 inch fabric that we have now, I would mark 0.25. I will on the folded part now, not the opened part. On the folded part, I will mark 0.25. So I'll place my tape rule like that and then mark 0.25. After marking, I'll connect the 2 points together, that's the 0.25 together with my ruler. So guys, this is very important. On the wrong side of your fabric, where the welt pocket will be attached, ensure that you iron your air stay on that part before you proceed on sewing the welt pocket. So this is exactly what I did. You can see the air stay at the wrong side. Now I have this 1 inch folded fabric which we already marked 0.25 inches on it, so you can see it there with me. So what I'll be doing is to place um, the folded fabric on my box, on that triangle like this. You can see the way it's sitting. Remember that we marked 0.25 inches downward on the triangle and then 0.25 inches upward on that triangle, on that box. So I will be matching up this 0.25 inches on this folded fabric. Look at it now. I'll match them up together, ensuring that that's 0.25 on this fabric and on the dress, on that box, ensuring that they both match up together. So I'll then go ahead and pin it down like so. Now when you are pinning, ensure that the pin sits on the box, that's on the vertical line of the box on the side. So just pin down carefully like this. So you see what I will do on this side as well. I would get my pin and then I'll raise it up on the side just to ensure that the folded fabric and then the box actually matches up together. So look at it. So I'll take it out, ensuring that it matches up. And then you see that I just wanted to ensure that they both match. And then I'll just pin it down like so. Now, doing this will help you to know where you will start sewing and where you will end your sewing. Now, my sewing is going to start from the first pin that I have there, and then the sewing is going to end on the last pin that I have on the other side, because these pins are sitting on the vertical line on that box that we drew on the dress. So this is the point where those pins are sitting. So I'll sew down on 0.25 inches. That line that I marked on this fabric is the line which I'll follow through. I'll sew on that line like so. So at this point, I've gotten to the edge of this the last pin. So I've taken that pin out and then I'll cut out my thread. Now I have the second fabric. I've also reduced it by half inch. So what I have here is 1 inch. So I'll repeat the same process which I did on the first one. I'll repeat it. That is marking 0.25 inches on the folded part of this 1 inch fabric. So I'll mark it like so. Remember that this fabric is on fold. So I'll mark the 0.25 just like that, and then I will rule it as well. Right now, after ruling, I will place the folded part on the fabric like so. So the open part is the one facing each other. Look at the way I'm placing it. I'm going to place it that the open part of the first one that we attached and the open part of this second one is actually going to face each other like this. So the first pin I'm placing here also starts from where this box the box that we marked, that rectangle, where it starts from. That's where the first pin is resting on, the same way we did for the first one that we sewed. And then I would also pin other points. I'll pin it down carefully like that, ensuring that the tip of this folded part also sits on the box. It sits on the box. So everything that we do here has have to align with the box that we created for this welt pocket. So the last pin I'll be attaching will also sit on the point where the box ends. So you see that I raised that part up to ensure that this part is sitting on that point. So right now I will then go ahead and sew on the 0.25 inches that I marked on the 1 inch folded fabric. I'll go ahead and stitch that down, starting from the first pin that I have there. Remember that I said that first pin is sitting on the point where the rectangle, the box that we created, starts from. So I would sew down like that, and then I would also stop the sewing on the pin on the other hand. So this is the same thing that we did on the first one. I'm repeating the same thing here. Now this is what it looks like after I was done sewing both sides. You can see it. So right now, the next thing I'll be doing is to open this up at the middle. That's, I will separate the two like this. You can see that I'll separate it, and then I will get my scissors, and at this point I will just get the center of my fabric and carefully notch that part. Remember that we have a straight line on the box that we created on the main fabric. We have a straight line there. So I'm going to cut through that straight line, but I will not get to the tip of that rectangle. I won't get to the tip of that rectangle. About 0.25 inches from that tip, I will just notch it like that, slantly. I'll notch it in slantly. So I will look at what I'm doing here. I have to notch it slanted. So about 0.25 to half inch, just notch it. So you have like this kind of points there. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. I would also cut through from the middle that we opened up. I'll cut through like so. And then once I get to the other side, once I get to the end of this, like I said, I will not get to the end of the box, just about half inch away from the box, just notch it slantly like that, create that sharp point. You can see what I did there, just notch it like that. You can see the rectangle edge there. So you will have this kind of V-like shape at the end. So once you do this, your welt pocket is actually going to sit well. It's going to sit well. So I'll push this in now. I'll push it in like this. And so I'll push it in on the other side also. And then this is what we have after pushing it in rather. This is what we have. So the pointy part as well, I'm going to push it in. Okay, now see what we have there. That's the pointy part I talked about. So it's going to be like that. And then on the other side as well, I'm also going to push that in so that it lays well. The pointy part is also going to rest well. So at this point I am done pressing. So once you have created this, just go ahead and press. It is important that you press at this point. Now that we have pressed this, I'll go ahead now to work on the pocket cover. So this fabric will be used as the pocket cover, and the measurement for this is 6.5 inches. That's the wideness, and then the width is about 3.5 inches. So I will flip it over like this, and then I will stitch it down on both sides. So I'll go ahead and sew down on both sides. So you can see that I have my air stay interfacing on it. So ensure that you also add up air stay to yours when you are creating the double welt pocket. So I'll stitch on this side and also stitch on the other side, and then I'll turn it over and give it a very good press. After pressing, I'll turn my fabric to the wrong side, and then the pocket cover will be attached to the upper part of this welt pocket. So that part, we pushed in the 1 inch fabric that we folded. So I'll be attaching this to the upper part of the welt pocket. So just carefully pin it down, just like this, carefully pin it down like so. And then, so after pinning, just turn it to the other side. That's still on the wrong side, but you flip it over and then you stitch both the pocket cover and the one we attached it to. That's the 1 inch folded fabric we attached it to. You stitch the two together like so. So after stitching, just open it up, that's open it to the right side and then bring out the pocket cover to the right side. So this is it. Now for the welt pocket, the last thing we'll be doing is to attach the pocket bag to the welt pocket itself. So this is what I have. Remember the fabric we cut out, 14 inches in length and then 7.5 inches width. That is the fabric which we serve as the pocket bag. So right now, to attach the pocket bag, we'd also flip the fabric over to the wrong side. And then remember the part we attached the pocket cover to. So I'll place the pocket bag, that's the 7.5 inches, the width. I'll place it on that part where we attach the pocket cover. And then I'll pin it down together at that point. So right now I'm done pinning. So this is what we have. I would also flip it over just like so, and then I would sew down the pocket bag and also the upper part of this welt pocket on the wrong side. I'll sew it down together. So after sewing, this is what I have after stitching together. So this is what I have after stitching them together. So the next thing is I'll flip this up and then I'll be attaching the other part, that's the other end of the pocket bag. I'll attach it to the lower part of the welt pockets. So you remember that for these welt pockets, we actually have the 1 inch part folded. We have two parts, one going to the upper part and the one towards the down part. So the pocket bag was actually attached to the lower part and also to the upper part. So I'll go ahead and also sew this together. I'll stitch it down together just like so. So finally, after stitching that part, I would then go ahead and close up the sides of this pocket. So I will close up the sides of the pocket bag like so. And while doing this, remember that V-shaped pointy part that we have when creating the pocket mouth, that's the welt pocket mouth, that V part. I would ensure that I stitch that part down. At this point, I will stitch it down together with my pocket bag. So I'll stitch everything down together and then I'll take it through to the down part like so. So I'll repeat the same thing on the other side and our welt pocket is done. So this is the other side. So I'll repeat the same thing here and then I'll sew this part down as well. And once I get to that part where we have that pointy V-like shape, you can see me holding that part there. So I will hold it down and then I will stitch that also to the fabric. Yeah, I will stitch it down like so. So I actually double stitch on that point because it's very necessary. So I double stitch on that point and then I closed up the sides. So with this we are done with the welt pocket for this dress. I'll repeat all of this same process on the other side for the welt pockets that will be on the other side of this dress. And then I'll go ahead and overlock all the rough edges that we have on the wrong side of this welt pocket. So here I have the welt pocket for the two sides. You can see I've created both the left and the right. And this is the wrong side. So right now, after working on the two welt pocket, this is what we have. And then the next thing I will do is to join the front and the back together on the shoulder. And once I've joined them together on the shoulder, I will close up the sides as well. Using the seam allowance I added to the side, I'll attach my sleeve to the armhole and also attach the zipper to the center back of the dress. And this is what we have. Thank you all for watching today's tutorial. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.